In celebration of 100 years of Texas high school football, the UIL, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and HEB teamed up to honor the best, brightest, and most unforgettable teams in the sport's illustrious history. With the help of some of the state's foremost experts and historians, we selected and honored 100 of the finest teams to grace the gridiron that give the game its one-of-a-kind flair. Throughout the course of the season, fans from across the state voted each week to help us select 10 of the greatest teams in UIL history. Today, we are proud to recognize Groveton High School and the 1989 Indians team, who were selected by the fans as one of the top 10 greatest teams in high school football history. And joining us to celebrate is the current superintendent for Groveton ISD, Don Hamilton, the former superintendent of Groveton ISD during the 1989 season, John Reynolds, the former head football coach for the 1989 Groveton Indians, Scott Phillips, former players from the 1989 team. We have Daryl Harbuck, Charles Cockrell, Stephen Thomas, Lonnie Winters, and Aaron Terry. And representing the presenting sponsor of our UIL 100 Greatest Teams, we have Joe Cassiano, Senior Marketing Manager for HEB in the Houston area. Now, Coach Phillips, I want to tee the first one to you. Being named one of the top 10 greatest teams in high school football history is a big deal. In your words, tell us what made that 1989 Groveton Indians team so special and why you believe they were selected by the fans as one of the greatest teams.
Well, we didn't have very many close contests. We beat people pretty bad pretty often. We had a super offensive line, great quarterback, great running backs. We had linebackers, safeties. We had it all. I've often said over the years that the 1989 team didn't win state. They should have fired me because I had all the talent that was necessary to win.
That's awesome. And I want to bounce this next question over to Daryl. You know, that 1989 team was special. Tell me a memory that stands out to you that really stands out from that 1989 team.
Well, I mean, the winning state was obviously the culmination of a lot of years in that team. We were together. Majority of that team was together from sixth grade and on, or even more. But one thing that always stood out to me was right before the state football game, our charter buses didn't show up, so we actually arrived late to the game, and we're out there, literally throwing our clothes on as we get ready for the game, and that's just something that I'll always remember. But past that, it's just the greatest bunch of guys that you could have ever wanted to play with. It was on that team.
Charles, that same question to you as you look back on that 1989 team. What's a memory that stands out to you that you'll always remember?
Man, there's a lot. There was a lot of people, as Daryl said, that we had grown up with literally our entire lives. The majority of us had gone to school together since we were in kindergarten, so that was family. A single moment out of that year was probably the stupid decision that Lonnie and I made not to wear anything under our uniforms in that semifinal game when it was 13 or 14 degrees at Kyle Field. That's probably the coldest I've ever been in my life, to the point that I had ice in my belly button at halftime. It was that cold, but it's a phenomenal memory. It was one of those things you get to do with people that you call brothers for the rest of your life. It was amazing.
And Stephen, to be here reunited with former players, coaches, superintendent, how special is it for you to be here joined with all these fellas here to celebrate that 1989 team?
Pretty special. Looking at all my former teammates and seeing my what I call one of my first mentors, that really helped me keep me in line, though I got out of line once or twice, maybe three, Mr. Coach Phillips. But it feels pretty special, to see people still healthy, people, my teammates, and especially say somebody like Lonnie, he was a linebacker, so having to cross with him every time, we call either Lou or Rip, and I'll never forget them words, And so it's always a special thing to see old friends, coaches, superintendents, and pretty much everybody.
Now, Coach Phillips, I want to bounce this one back to you. You know, one player that couldn't be with us here today, but obviously was a huge part of that 1989 team is Rodney Thomas, one of the greatest players in Texas high school football history, and certainly a big part of that team. Tell us a little bit about Rodney and what he meant to the team.
Oh, he touched the ball, he scores. And he's got all the speed and the power, and he was just an excellent running back. Wouldn't play linebacker because he didn't want Steven to sit on the bench. But he was a great running back, and he was a great person. He came to visit me in Plano when I was coaching at Plano East, and he came up and stayed with my wife and daughter and I for 3 days and 3 nights. And we had a great visit. He talked to my football team during spring training, and the character that he had was amazing. The things he did at Texas A&M, just the humanitarian that he really was, and just to lose his life so early, that was so sad and hurt so many people. He meant a lot to the community of Groveton, and he seldom ever stepped out of line. He was always the leader, other than wanting to run the mile relay, which he loved the mile relay. Get that, guys? He never would run the quarter. He was a 100-meter champ. But anyway, he was tremendous and will be remembered forever. A picture of him is in my office, right up here. I'll show him to you. Right there. That was the night that he got inducted into the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame.
Wow. I appreciate you sharing that with us, Coach. You know, certainly wanted to make sure that Rodney's legacy was remembered as a part of this tremendous honor, and obviously appreciate you sharing that story. Coach Reynolds, you were superintendent there during the 1989 season, and you got a firsthand view of what made that team so great. You know, what type of legacy did the 1989 Groveton Indians leave behind, and how do you believe that historic season helped mold the rich tradition that Groveton has today?
Well, cumulatively, the 89 team kind of was a team that Coach Phillips put together. We hired him as a young guy. Most people won't know why I hired him. He hadn't never had a head job, but I could see something in him that I thought would work good in Groveton. And he did a good job for us, and this was his last year at Groveton. This is a team really that he put together as far as coaching goes. But, you know, good players can't win without good coaches, and good coaches can't win without good players. And we just so happened that 89 team was some of the best that we've had. I believe the sophomore, junior, and senior classes that played on that team, you had 6 or 7 go to Division I, and we were a 2A school. So you can see what kind of talent we did have. But somebody had to put all that together and do something with it. And Coach Phillips did. Of course, everybody since then had been trying to match what they did. We were fortunate enough to go 32-0 with some of those same guys. Rodney and Thomas that you mentioned earlier was a junior on that team. I believe Charles Cockler was a junior on the team. And we had a lot of good juniors along with some seniors that went 32-0 when you consider the 89 and 90 team. But the 89 team was better because it had everything that a 2A ball club needs. It had the punter, it had the kickers, it had the defense, it had the offense, and I was just proud to be a part of it.
And we are so glad to be joined by Joe Cassiano, Senior Marketing Manager there for HEB out in the Houston area. Joe, this has been really an unprecedented Texas high school football season, but a special one, celebrating 100 years of UIL football. I'm interested to learn from you, you know, why was it so important for HEB to team up with the UIL and Dave Campbell's Texas football to celebrate 100 years of football, and why is connecting at the local level a priority for HEB?
Well, you know, Rob, at HEB, we've aimed to make our communities better for the past 115 years. And as a key element of that goal, we invest in education each and every year. So this year, we're honored to be a part of the UIL and Dave Campbell's celebration of 100 years of UIL football. It's one of the most revered traditions in Texas. UIL activities are where our students learn to push for both individual and team goals. And this key time of development helps fill our community with responsible citizens and gives us all great memories. So on behalf of HEB, congratulations to the 1989 Groveton Indians for representing the best of UIL football in Texas.
Joe, we appreciate you and are grateful to have you here as a part of this celebration. Lonnie, you know, I don't have to tell anybody on this call how special Texas high school football is. And on top of that, everybody always thinks that they have the best team, right? But the fans stepped up to the plate and named the 1989 Groveton Indians team as one of the top 10 greatest teams in UIL history. Tell us a little bit, in your words, what makes Texas high school football so special, and how special is it for you to be here as a part of this celebration?
You know, just I'll speak from just a kind of a small town experience. You know, I live in a totally different community now, but you still have those Luther Barrel cockerels that you can hear when you're on the other side of the sideline, and when the buses come back or go to a football game, all the stores are closed, and you've got a line of vehicles that are following you. I mean, that's a pretty important thing, and just the bonds that you develop with your players and your coaches. The majority of us through Groveton has kept up with most of our coaches, most of our teachers, and just to create that bond at such a young age and really respect one another as players and people has been tremendous for us. So, I mean, just the passion that small town USA and Texas shows for football, I think, is unprecedented in any state.
And Aaron, that same question to you, you know, to be a part of UIL Texas high school football history and a top 10 greatest team at that. Tell us a little bit about what that means to you and what Texas high school football means to you.
Texas high school football means a great deal to me. I'm a little different than most guys. I came back to Groveton after 20 years because I had an 8th grade son and said, hey, I want to play football. There was one place in my mind to go. That was Groveton, Texas. Each of them graduated. They've given a great deal to the town of Groveton, and I'm proud of them. I'm proud of being a part of the community of small town America. And we were a great team, and even to this day, every player on that team, we're all still best friends. 30 years later, we're all best friends.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, it's a great honor to have you guys all here. And I want to bounce this next one to Superintendent Hamilton. You know, Texas high school football is incredibly special, but we all know that it would be nothing without the support of our communities and without the support of our partners. I'm interested to learn from you, you know, what does it mean to you to have the support of partners like HEB who are committed to recognizing the achievements of Texas high school communities, not only there at Groveton, but across the state, not only in this year of celebrating UIL 100 greatest teams, but also in a pandemic year at that, them stepping up to the plate. Tell us a little bit in your words what it means to you to have their support.
Well, it's great to have corporate sponsors such as HEB because like Joe said, HEB is committed not only to the 100 greatest teams of football, they commit a lot every year to education in Texas. There's numerous other programs that they have where they support school districts. And it's great to know that they value the education of students, the support that they give to local school districts, the help monetarily support, because we're trying to put out students that will hopefully go into their workforce and work with them. And it's just great to know that they put as great a value on education as they do.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And I just wanted to, again, recognize and commemorate this moment, you know, to be here with all you guys, former players, coaches. It really is a great honor. So on behalf of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the UIL and HEB, congratulations again to the 1989 Groveton Indians on being named one of the top 10 greatest teams in UIL history. And a special thanks to Joe Cassiano and the team at HEB for your support of the UIL 100 greatest teams.